And here we are again. I don't get why my slate here with the A320 sitting there keeps shifting to the side. Maybe someday I'll figure that out. I don't know exactly what it would be. But, I don't know. Let's just get away from it. Here we are sitting at Midway where we left off yesterday. And we're in the beach today. It's another beachy type of stream. Everything looking good here. We'll go ahead and jump right into the cockpit and get things rolling along. Oh, I should have done a quick check of my switches before we jumped in, but hey, I am not known for doing that. Alright, all our controls are reporting from my stuff as it should. Let's turn on our good old transponder there. We're setting the ground, so we need to open the cow. We're on 1200. We're looking good. Before we go too far, yeah, I can't remember on this dang thing. I do believe. Yeah, there we go. We're now full of fuel. Okay. I kind of used a cheat switch to make that happen. Should have done it before we got started, but hey, when do I ever do things the right way? As you see above, up yonder here, no, not there, but up above that, we're leaving out of Midway. We're going to head to somewhere. It's not saying where. I don't know why my Volanta has apparently said, nope, we're not doing this. Okay, there we go. St. Louis is where we're headed, and it's dumped my flight plan. Gotta love it when things come together, but believe it or not, I do have a flight plan today. Extra out. We're gonna come out of Midway and head southwest. There we go. Now it's got it. Maybe. Here we go. Anyways, as I was saying, we're going to come out of Midway on a 199. We're going to come down here to the Roberts VOR. This you see right here. We're going to leave out of there from Roberts. We're going to head on down to the Adders. Adders is right outside of Decatur, Illinois. And then we're going to head on down to the wonderful, we'll use Cardinal, which is this DME right here. Yeah, we'll go from there and we'll come on into St. Louis, and that'll be our flight for this morning. It is a beautiful day here in the Midwest. And granted, we're leaving from here, and I'm actually over here. Nope, that's Rochester. I don't know where the hell I'm at. Rensselaer, Grissom. Yeah, I know my way around. Here we are. I'm actually, there's Fort Wayne, so I'm actually over here. That's Dayton. So we've done some fairly decent flying here. From we started in Dayton. We worked our way up to Put in Bay. Put in Bay, we went up here to Saginaw. Saginaw down to Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo over to Midway. Today we're going to fly from Midway on down to St. Louis. It's a beachy kind of flight. We're going to take it and enjoy it. That being said, we're going to get back in our cockpit. We're going to check outside before we do anything. We're looking fairly decent. Nobody's around us. We do have lights, which means we have power. Go ahead and split these throttles. Yes, dear, I know. Why are you? That was odd. Apparently the sim didn't think my gear switch was down. I don't know why I didn't like that, but anyways, Some things, these things do what they want, and I have no idea. We'll switch that over so we have the right mode for when we go into heading mode on our autopilot here. But anyways, we're going to get things rolling. We're going to give Rich on number 2, which is our right engine. We are going to bring our throttle up just a little bit. We checked outside, nobody's around. We're going to open up our safety, switch on our right. Yeah, we're going to put on our lights here right quick because we're going to start up. That lets everybody know that we're getting ready to start up. I guess we don't really need that. I may have just put the dome light on. I did. It's not what I wanted. Yeah, that's on. All right, so beacon, seatbelt light, we're ready to go. Let's throw some juice to the right starter. There you hear that wonderful radio come into life. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't switch to the rear fuel. The tail wheel is unlocked. We are on parking brakes. We're looking good. Fire extinguishers are doing all right down here. We're doing all right. Right one is now fired up. We're seeing oil pressure, fuel pressure. We'll, nope. I want that up. We want the oil shutters closed for right now. Excuse me. As we see a little bit of heat coming into the cylinder temp right here, just at the bottom of our green arc. We are in a good enough position right now. I think we can go ahead and start up our number 1. Make the switch over. Just once again, look, nobody around. Clear prop. Oh. Had to give it a little fuel. They tend to run better when they have that. It's the craziest thing. All right. Both engines are alive. We're seeing fuel pressure in both, oil pressure in both. We go ahead and put the safety back down on that and put that back over. Pitot heat is on, so we know that we're getting good readings on our airspeed. Things are coming up. While that's warming up, let's go ahead and do a quick ATIS check from midway so we can set our altimeter.
Midway Airport Information Kilo 1200.
Wind is calm.
Wind calm. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 6. Dew point 1.
3032. Wow, that's a lot of high
ILS runway
pressure.
1 tree center and visual runway 1 tree right in use. Landing and departing runway 1 tree center and runway 1 tree right.
Okay. 1-3 center and 1-3 right. Okay, so we go ahead and make the ground call.
Exejet 604. Acknowledge last transmission.
We're going to be departing south. Wait for Exejet to come back, and they're not.
Midway ground, 3W November Tree 20 Sierra Mike. Request taxi for south departure with Kilo.
3W November Tree 20 Sierra Mike. Taxi to and hold short of runway 1 tree center via taxiway
1-3 center, Juliet Whiskey.
Contact tower on 1 tree 5.2 when ready.
All right, we're not holding
Taxi,
short anyway, so
hold short runway 1 tree center via
yep,
taxiway
we're doing that. Let's take a
Juliet
look
Whiskey.
at
3W November
charts.
Tree
Hopefully
20
it's going to
Sierra
remember
Mike.
who we are. This is one thing, and I'm not sure if it's going to do it. Yes, no, maybe so. See, this is an issue that I have, and it was this way not in the beta as well as it is here in the beta, and I don't know why you have to continue. Oh, come on. I know that's my password.
Taxijet 604 IFR flight plan is canceled. Radar
Yeah,
service
thank you.
terminated. Squawk 1200. Maintain VFR.
Okay.
Frequency change approved. Good day.
Hide. Airports. Okay, let's go here. Okay, we know where we are. Wait. Gotta love it. Let's change to FA VFR sectional. Let's center on ourselves. Show, follow ownership. Okay, so now we're on ourselves. Alright, so we're here in Chicago. Edit. Search. Let's try the search. I don't think it's perfect. I could be wrong. Well, let's... Okay, if it's not going to work there, this is what I love. Alright, let's just go right here. Because this will show me what I need to see. Okay. So, we are going for 13 center, which I believe is this guy right here. We'll see if it'll pull up. Yep, Midway. Charts. Airport chart. Ground chart. Let's look at that one. There we are. So we are here at the west ramp. It's wanting to take Juliet to Whiskey and Whiskey up to 13 center. So that should be fairly simple. Okay. Let's close our chart. Get a little bit of a moving map here. It would be great if the Navigraph integration worked on this. I don't, and I guess it really does, but I don't have anything pre-programmed into it yet, and that may be why it's not pulling up what I want it to. All right, let's go ahead and give a little love here. Oh. Swing around and not hit the building. Okay. Here's Juliet, and left on Whiskey. Juliet's got Whiskey. Well, God bless her. We're still low on our prop pitch, so we're just kind of crawling along here. One other thing that been trying to fix, and I'm considering pulling myself out of beta. Look at all the beaches. There's 2 beaches sitting right there. Aren't they pretty? Tons of a beach. But anyways, as I was saying, I'm considering taking myself out of beta because, number one, I can see virtually no traffic in the beta. Only other people that are in the beta, I believe, is what I'm seeing. I asked that question yesterday from the community, and I don't know, everybody was kind of posting quite a bit about Cross the Pond yesterday, and I think the admins for the Facebook page kind of got a little overworked on that, and they just started not approving posts, I guess is the way to say it. I'm trying not to rag. Oh, old short line. Let's do the right thing and contact the tower. Let's do this real quick.
Midway Tower, 3W November, Tree 20 Sierra Mike at runway 13 center ready for departure. Departure to the south.
3W November, Tree 20 Sierra Mike. Altimeter Tree 0 Tree 2 departure to the south approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 13 center.
Before we do that, let's acknowledge it, but before we go out there, we need to get our... Yeah, we're going to acknowledge our clearance, but
Clear for takeoff runway
trying to get our VOR
center,
set up.
3W November, Tree
And
20
it may-
Sierra Mike.
75 miles. It's going to take a while for it to for it to come into play, but we're going to put our stuff here. We're going to set our course on a 199. As you can see, the CDI turning around there. We're not going to be too far off. 199. Okay. We're going to do the same thing with our heading bug. We're going to bring it around that way too, because it'll be a little while before that VOR actually starts to report. Let me see if there's anything I can bounce off of. Well, you know what? Let's we're going to be coming right out here, so let's edit our route a little bit. Let's put EON first. EON. Okay, so that's going to take us to the P-tone, which is 113.2. Now that one I'm pretty sure we can probably pick up here right now. Yes, 113.20. So I'm getting a distance measurement here, but I'm not getting it here on the DME. So we'll see. Go ahead and take off. We are clear for takeoff, so let's get out there on the runway. Midway is kind of a busy place to be. I want to make sure that we're not, as I tell my son in driver's training, you don't want to needlessly be holding up other people. Get our takeoff trim set there. All lights are on. We'll go ahead and close the cowls now. Get out here on center line. Now see all of those over there. I'm not sure. A lot of Southwest Airlines. So that could be real traffic simulated. It could be multiplayer traffic. That'd be a lot of Southwest this time of the day, which I could be wrong. Southwest flies a lot out of here. Let's go ahead and get going. Bring everything up. RPM's coming up. I didn't really do that. You know, as I've said many times, my stream's more about. I didn't lock the tail wheel. Oh, here we go. Volanta's gonna go, hey, basketball, you're absolutely bouncing 3 or 4 times off the runway here. We're a little heavy. Wheels coming up because we are at positive rate. Let's try to get us some good altitude, and we're actually only going to go up to about 2,500.
3W November Tree 20 Sierra Mike. Continue for south departure.
All right, south departure approved. We're going to keep going.
Midway Tower, 3W November Tree 20 Sierra Mike. Continue for south departure.
We'll keep climbing. As you can see, our CDI did come in. We've started to pick up on that VOR. Which is going to be, yeah, let's see. That's probably because we're on the wrong course setting. Come on. Go ahead and bring them flaps on in. A little trim here. Change our course indicator to 187, which we're almost on. So we're going to go ahead and turn on now, and altitude hold. We'll let the plane center in on the VOR that we're supposed to be heading to, which is Eon, on the 187 radial. Or you know, those who lived in the 80s would know. We're going to bring our manifold pressure up to about 32. We're going to bring down our RPMs into the green arc, probably about 2100, right about there, and we'll start to see if we level off our speed increasing. The VOR is captured for Eon, we are
3W November Tree 20 Sierra Mike. Leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
All right, frequency change approved. Got it. We'll get off your. I gotta get on the right
Midway
screen
Tower,
here. Thank you.
3W November Tree 20 Sierra Mike. Frequency change.
Alright, so we just came out of his airspace here. So we're, let's say, 27 miles. Yeah, that's probably about right. About twice of 2.5 times of that radius would be about correct. We're coming up on speed. We're at about 162 knots. So putting that speed in will relegate us to about an hour and a half flight. It took a whole whopping 2 minutes off the flight time. But we're zooming along. We're at 2,500 feet, right where we want to be, which is going to keep us out of Class Charlie or the Class Bravo, I mean, O'Hare. The shelf we're in is 3,600 to 10,000. We're in a good spot for the position that we want to be in, and we're just on our way. So, we'll see how the day brings us here as we're zooming along over the northern Illinois countryside. Everything looks pretty. Skies out there, got a little bit of clouds in it. A little overcast, kind of partly cloudy, I guess you would say. There goes somebody. Zooming right along at 2,600 feet, 2.5 miles out. I don't remember what FFL is. It's a T210. I don't know that one. That designation. Let's see. Cessna 210. Single engine, high performance, 6 seat, manufactured by, yeah, it's a Centurion. Okay. Okay, that's a Centurion. I don't know all the numbers of everything that's created. I just know what I fly. I do kind of like twin engine aircraft. Maybe because of complexity, but more because of the speed. You know. Now, granted, I could get the same speed out of a Mooney or a turboporter or something, or something like that. But I just, number one, I love the look of a beautiful vintage aircraft such as this one. I mean, it's just, they're awesome to look at. They're a piece of history. I wish I owned one. I wish I owned any. Unfortunately, that's just not the cards for me. I self-identify as being rich enough, but the bank just does not want to listen. And I think it's outrageous myself. We'll go back into our electronic flight bag here. We'll get out of midway, spin her back on the aircraft, zoom it out. So I didn't put a flight plan in here. I should have. KMDW right there. 13C Jet Airways. No, we're not doing Jet Airways. We're gonna go EON. Ketone. Add. Our next waypoint is RBS. Roberts. Add. After that, it's AXC. Why are we doing that? Not entirely sure why we're doing that. That was kind of wanky. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened. Maybe it didn't like something I was typing. Alright. KSTL. St. Louis. Alright. So now we can see on our electronic flight bag that we're all over the damn place. But our route is now in. This will be our route for today. That was really odd. I don't know why it did what it wanted to do there. I mean, it can do what it wants to do. I'm telling it to do what it wants to do. But, man, look at all the traffic around Chicago. There's a lot of them. Which is odd because I really don't see it so much. I mean, we saw that Centurion, but I mean, we'll step outside the aircraft and look around, but I get that it could be at altitude, but I've not seen any tags anywhere. I don't know, it could be that I remember being the guy who kind of run all this kind of crap years ago, and unfortunately, time, attrition, and the rule of electronics, oh come on, I only won a little bit. I just want to, the speed on this thing is outrageous on the moving it. You put some exponential on it, as us RC flyers would say, make it less sensitive around center. But yeah, so I don't necessarily see all the traffic that I'm thinking should be there, but hey, it's okay. Right now, we are still, we're 12 miles from Piatone, I don't know how you say it, Piatone, P-E-O-T-O-N-E. When we get there, we will grab a course of 200, which I'm going to switch over to heading mode now, just to keep this, and then we're going to change our course over to 200. Now the reason I'm doing that is so that way when we get there, which is in 10.4 miles, got some drift going on here. I'm not sure, must have a crosswind or something. Maybe we'll give it a little bit of trim to adjust that. Anyways, we'll get down here to the VOR, which is 9 miles out, 4 minutes away. We'll switch back over to nav mode, and nav mode will in turn point us towards that 200 radial. Probably what I'll do is when we get within a couple of miles of it, 2 miles, that's usually when I make the switch. Maybe a little less. But today's flight's going to take us down to the Gateway of America. Fly over St. Louis. We'll probably see the arch, which would be kind of cool. I like, on my streams to see a few different things. Yesterday we saw Notre Dame's stadium. We flew right over it as we went over South Bend. Did a little route edit there to just kind of look around, which is okay. I mean, it's kind of why we do this. But we'll be going down through here in northern Illinois. After Piatone, we'll come off on a bit of a thing where we'll see quite a few, possibly off to our west, over that way. Wind farms out there. We're 5 miles from the VOR at this point. The wind seems to be just kind of kicking out here, but in the flatlands of America, that does tend to happen. We can see here this line, what is that? That's a railroad track, I think. I don't know, I can't tell or if that's a road. Looks like it might be a road and a railroad track. Road here, railroad track there. Typically they don't clear trees off the sides of railroad tracks, but they do off of roads. So, I don't know exactly what that is. That might be a highway. Actually, it looks like a highway, because it looks like there's a bypass around the city here, which would probably be Piatone. The city of Piatone. Coming up on it here. There's our VOR. We're 2.7 miles out. Yeah, Piatone is outside the Chicago area sectional. We're going to come down on it here. We've already flown over Meadow Creek. Bolt Field was back to our left. I didn't see it over there, but I imagine it's over there somewhere. But yeah, as we're coming up on the VOR, and we are now, we're going to turn the nav mode back on, and we're going to start looking for that 200, which is going to take us on down to Roberts. It's going to come up pretty quick as we're this close. 0.9 miles. Once we get there, it's going to start. You're going to see that CDI take a long straight leap quickly. Half a mile from VOR. The closer you are to the VOR, the faster that CDI correction is going to take place. There it went. It said, nope, you've already gone past me. So I'm going to have to manually fly this and get us back on track. I'm kind of doing some radical maneuvering here, but I'm certainly not keeping my altitude correct. Go back at that. Try and attack that VOR once again. We're on the other side of it now, so when we catch it this time, it'll hopefully click into it. We're going to be on the from side of this VOR. Well, let me manually fly this because it's going to be way too, this close, it's going to be way too radical with the time shift for the autopilot to be able to keep up with it. There you see it's coming over. Just going to kind of center in on it as best as we can. Alright, I think the autopilot can get us from here. If we keep flying this way, the CDI is starting to move over. And the course deviation indicator, I believe that's what that is. I should probably use terminology that makes me sound like I know what I'm talking about, but yes, course deviation indicator. Which is laid on top of our horizontal situation indicator. As we're coming in here, you'll see that the course deviation is coming closer, so we're going to probably center in on that. We're on our way down now to Roberts. This is a 45-mile run. Leg, I guess I should say. And we can go ahead, I'll go ahead and tune in our tune in Roberts on our second VOR so that way we'll know when it comes up. 116.8 is our number. Oh, it already grabbed it, look at that. Alright, so coming out of Roberts, I guess we go ahead and switch over to that on nav 1. Yeah, we're still on the 200 out of Roberts, so that would be okay. Let's go ahead and make that switch this time. Nav 1, 116.8. The nav will shut off for a second, and we see that it's recaptured it because now it's pointing to instead of from, like it is there. So back over to the 2, and we're back on track. So now we are flying that that 20 radial in. Okay, it's going inbound on the 20, but to fly to it, you have to go through it. okay? So what do I mean by that? I mean that we're going straight down, this is the 2, but we have to go straight through to get what our heading should be to get to it. So if you go to it, you have to go through it to the 200. Because 20 plus 18 is, or I'm sorry, 2 plus 18 is, let me do that again. 20 plus 180 is 200. And as I said earlier, off to our right, we would see the wind farm. Well, there it is. Which means over to our left right about now, we should see an airport. We do. That is Greater Kankakee. Doing pretty good here. Right on track, right on time. 32.6 miles from Roberts. And everything's looking good. There's not a whole lot to see out here in the flatlands, but that's okay. You know, you can see how things do take place. I mean, if you live in a coastal area, you may or may not see wind farms. And absolutely land full of nothing but farm. You know, this is farmlands as far as the eye can see. Central America at its greatest. I think this area is not represented at all, or nearly enough in streaming, because it's dull and boring. Well, it's not. It gives you time to focus on A, your aircraft. B, you can find little subtle things like this. And I guess the truth is, flying through the heartland of America shows you some wonderful things. You know, things that we kind of take for granted, actually. A lot of millions upon millions, hundreds of millions of people take this area of our country for granted. And what do I mean by that? Well, you know, it's all these fields that are farmed by the millions of farmers and their families that produce food for all of us. And, you know, many people, I'm in my late 40s, soon to be 50, within a plus or minus 10%. But anyways, I think that younger folks are really, they don't recognize, you know, the work that goes in this part of the country. Other things that happen out here that are vital, education. You know, there's a lot of great schooling out in the heartland of America, and it's not. I mean, it's not an easy place to be and live. The distances are vast. You know, there's not a ton of population out here. Of course, as human beings, we tend to congregate together. So in cities, there are people, but out here in you know, let's see, we're in the middle of Illinois here. There's nothing. There's farmlands and some roads. It looks like patchwork. This is how our country was divided up years and years ago. And the people out here have chosen to live the life of farming because they have the land to do so. And this is what the plains are for. I mean, this is what we've utilized the plains for. And we don't just feed America, we feed the world. There's a lot of our stuff that gets exported. We import and export quite a bit without getting into the whole tariff discussion, because I'm not getting into that. But this is a part of the country that provides a lot for everybody. The other thing is, you know, there's a lot of corn out here that's grown, and that is turned into ethanol, which is a biofuel. Or ethanol is what's in our, mixed with our gasolines. There's also, the byproducts are turned into a lot of things. It's, feed for animals. Here's one for you. The leftovers from corn husks is turned into PLA, which is a type of plastic for 3D printing, and I utilize that. I personally use 3D fuel, which is made in the USA, which is a big thing for me. And it's completely biodegradable. As much as I can, creating more plastic, trying to be a good steward to the health of the world. I know everybody's out there going, you are dumb. Uh-oh. We did that again. We didn't check those mixtures to be right. We're going to have to make sure to make a checklist. The mixture knob was way down again, so when I bumped it just a little bit, it went, oh, nope, you don't need me at all. So, but anyways, like I said, flying along, we are 20 miles from Roberts. Out of Roberts, we are going to be looking for a 210 on our way down to, let me pop the actual world VFR back up here, to our next VOR, which is Adders. This leg is currently not showing its distance. Let's take that out. There we go. It's a 60-mile leg, VOR to VOR, which seems to be about the distance because you get about 30 miles out of a VOR. 30 to 40 mile transmission out of a VOR, it seems like. Maybe a little more for the distance, for the DME stuff, distance measuring equipment. But we're going to be there in 7 minutes. That 60 nautical mile will take us, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. We'll see. We're going to set up our VOR on Adders 117.2. VOR2 is going to be on 117.2. And again, I'm not dialing any kind of course in. All I want to see is just like right here. I'll switch it back. You can see that it's active, right? Because we've got a from. We're way off course because it's expecting a 360 or a 0, whatever you want to say. When I hit the button and switch it, we can see that it comes up in op. You know, it's not reading anything and it centers itself. So once we see that start to move, we'll know it's a good time to switch from the Roberts to the Adders and our primary, which will give us our CDI indication here. Coming out of Roberts, we will need to adjust 10 degrees on our CDI to 210 on the course. But yeah, we'll be able to make that happen. We are now 14 miles out, which is about 5 minutes. Sorry as I take a swig of my morning coffee. You know, it's interesting. I need to put in the entire flight plan that I've done so far. I don't know if I can, let me see if I can do that. We're gonna go, leave that one in here, new flight plan. KMGY. But from here we went to EQN. I'm just trying to put this in to get a map of what we did. Of where we have flown so far. On our leg of actual flying. I don't know if Sky Vector's going to like what I'm trying to do here, but we'll try it. P down to yeah, we went to Victory VIO, KSTL. Out of there, we went to ELX. Trying to get everything to fill in here so I can see the section on the pull what I need to pull. We went SBN. SBN. Right? Went to South End. CGT. KMDW. And there we are. I think I've caught up to what we're doing. Somewhat. EON. Right, it is time to be paying attention in the cockpit here shortly. OBS. XC. It went, whoa. I'll take a look at some of this because it didn't like something, but alright, it is time. We're going to go ahead and switch, put our heading where we are to keep our heading going through. Alright, so we're now on heading mode. We're going to change our course over to 210, and we're going to turn it back to nav, which is going to freak out here in a second because, again, we're flying towards that VOR. We're just, you know what, we're not going to fly that automatically. We're going to fly this manually till we get close. We'll stay right on this. Right on this heading. Try not to lose my altitude. 2.1 miles out from Roberts. We're drifting a little bit. And here we go. Put it back in mode and we'll see what we got. Alright, so somehow no. It's EGT, that's where our... Oh, it lost it. I don't know why it didn't go for it, but it didn't go for it. Let's bring us back around to it. Looks a little better. Alright, let's just switch to heavy mode and see if that brings us in to where we want to be. Boy, me and this thing are just not having a good day today. Not sure why it's going janky, but it's definitely going janky. I'd say number one reason is because I'm trying to do something else while it's doing its thing, and I'm not really paying attention to it, so... Alright. Okay. Well, it's getting back on track here, and I've kind of gotten what we have going right now working. So far, this has been our journey. Oh, thank you. Okay. We started out of Dayton, went up to DQN to Flag City, then over to Put-in Bay. That was leg one of this trip. From there, we came out, we went to south of Detroit, over to Flint, and landed in Saginaw. Saginaw went on and came down to Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo came out, went down and looked to South Bend, over and landed in Midway. And today we've taken out of Midway, and we're heading to St. Louis. So that's our total route. Here is today's leg. Okay, and we, nope, wrong one. Oh, don't tell me it just did what I think it did. Oh, well, that's not good. Let's not do that. Everybody's like, what had happened? Young man. There we are. Oh, it put them in both. How spectacular. Okay, well. It be what it be. At least now I have them both. Did I just kill the... No, I did not. Okay. Thought I killed our music, but I did not. I did not. Alright, so we are now outbound on that, on Roberts, but we are picking up adders. We can see that here. No? Wait a minute. That don't look right. Because it says we're coming from. So what is nav2 reading right now? Nav2 is reading 117.2, which should be adders. Right? Yeah, it should be adders, but it's picking up something in the vicinity that's because it should be going to and not from. So for some reason, either that or the indication here is not working the way I want, or the way it should be. 029 would be a 219. Yeah. So let's just put this over on 219 and see if it comes in. Oh wait. Guess what? I'll bet you we are. Yep. Okay, so we are staying average. Okay. The reason why is because we were on that, once again, radical, the radial was way off, because though it said, oh, you're coming from it, and no, we need to be going towards it. So, again, we're on a 210 course, which for right now we could switch to adders, and it'll give us a DME measurement. So let's go ahead and make that change, 117.2. And there we go. Take a second for it to recapture. It did. We are 48.2 miles out. We're on 210 down into it. A little bit of change here to capture that radial. We're slightly off of it, not much. And just like that, the aircraft's going to turn us and probably turn us too much and then bring us back. But that's okay. Aren't you glad you're not riding along in the back of this aircraft? But anyways, I think that we're doing a good job, and I want to continue streaming these flights. I don't know, we'll see if anybody watches any of them, but we'll see where we go to next. St. Louis is a decent place. Maybe we'll head down to Louisiana, or, I don't know, maybe Texas. Texas is a lot of vast openness. We could head towards the Rockies after this. That may not be a bad thing, and start making our way across the rest of the country. It's a long way to go, that's for sure. We are at this point at the end of this trip we'll have flown 759 miles roughly by the way of the route. I'm sure due to my zigging and zagging and checking out extra things, it's more than that. But, see what pops up on here to give us the opportunity to see. I mean, out here, like I said, it's farmland, and it's something that Something that doesn't get a lot of coverage because, you know, it's not exactly the most the most exciting stuff, but I enjoy flying out here. Gives me a feeling of home. Trying to sign in here to something to, for some reason the chat's not coming up. I don't know if there's anybody to chat with, I don't think. Of course. We'll see. And go. Maybe? Yep. Okay. Well, my device is connected. Hey, how about that? I'm not sure that's what I wanted to do, but we're trying. Oh, something went wrong. How about that? Not exactly sure. Go. Connect devices. Okay, I'm... Okay, fine. Okay. St. Louis. Sorry, my wife is here with me. Continue. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, come on. Really? We needed to come down for all of that? Huh. Well, good golly, Miss Molly, it's not wanting to do what I'm asking it to do. For some reason. But that's okay. We'll try to figure it out. No, I know what that is. This is my S8. I'm not getting any. Okay. Huh. You ever have one of those days where nothing seems to quite want to work right? Google says it's sending me, or Windows Security saying it's saying stuff to my phone for this, and it's not happening. Let's try again. Let's continue. Let's try to go here. Alright. Let's try again. It's wanting me to connect my devices, which trying to do. And are you kidding me? You stupid thing. Okay. Okay. No. Wow. There was a problem. Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, good Lord. Oh, good Lord. I don't know, maybe it's a problem with my Streamlabs stuff. But anyways, we're 25 miles out from the Adders VOR. Trying to make everything work here. Meanwhile, I'm getting we'll just go from there. Well, we're just trying to make things happen. 22 miles from Adders, which we can bring up over here, get our position corrected. Looks as if somebody else is flying this particular airway. This is an airway, so I see him here. I don't see him here. But that's okay. We're zooming along. This is Adders. This is where we're headed to. After that, we'll make the turn down to St. Louis, which is right here. Let's close that. Let's bring up St. Louis St. Lambert International. Okay, and I thought it said currently, let's see what the weather is there. St. Louis looks like it's a 12-knot wind from 120. Okay. So that means that they're likely going to be using, no, we're not doing, let's go there. I think it's 12 is what, runway 12. Let's go look at St. Louis over here. Yeah, they're using the 12s. Which, darn it, Bobby. Let me bring it over here. Okay, so open a new tab, pull it out. You can rotate this around so we can see it. the right way. Yeah. So it's going to look upside down, but this is the orientation of the airport. Right? Am I seeing that right? Darn it, I lost it. No, I am not. Well, we'll bring it back around. So this is north, okay? So the 1-2s. So we're going to be coming in on 1-2 right or left. So it's either this one or this one. I'm thinking it's going to be right is what they're going to be on. So we're going to have to come down, probably 45 in, come back around and VFR pattern to the left, right? Is that correct? Then again, they may put us in a different pattern. I don't know. It does not. It does not give a VFR pattern indication. So ground chart. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was looking for. All right. So we'll wait till we get a little closer. Let's see. What is the ATIS there? ATIS at 125.025. Let's. I mean, we're definitely a while out, and that's okay. But let's put it on COM2 125.02. Let's turn down here to where we can see what COM2 is doing. Oh, too far. 025. So we're going to put it on COM2. We're going to turn on to monitor COM2. So this is monitoring. This is transmitting. Oh, I'm sorry, that's transmitting. So right now we're going to monitor COM2, even though we're quite a bit out. So for right now, let's kill that. Let's go back to where we are, because we're 9 miles from our intended turn, which we are going to, once again, we're going to make a 227 course correction when we get down there. Let's try to bring that up. That's going to be about where we want to be. We can actually, we're going to make our heading 227, and we'll do that. We'll try this way first to see if this makes a difference as we come up on this VOR. We're 6.9 miles out from it. Kill the EFB for right now. You know, we should probably check our fuel tanks. It says we're doing pretty decent. Well, it says we got plenty of fuel left in our I think at this point we're just going to go ahead and come up to our, well, front tank, stay turning. You got to be real careful with those, because I just about killed that engine, and that would have been, I mean, we can technically fly on one engine in this. I don't like doing it at 2,500 feet. It's not exactly the best place to be doing that, because aircraft will start doing some weird things, and you may not have the altitude to offset it. So I try not to make that happen. It gets a little cranky. I don't want that. And that'll be a 92 minute or 92 nautical mile leg once we make this turn up here in 2.6 miles now. Oh, man. And again, we're going to start watching this one because it's the one that's going to take off on us. It's at the 227. This is at the 210, and technically we're a little off of it now. Quite get that, why it's not trying to correct to that, but I do show that we are, autopilot is on. We are in nav mode. It is on that VOR, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. We're deviating from it heavily now. One would think it would take us that way, but alas, it is not. 0.8 miles now. Half a mile. I'm going to kick it over to heading mode, which is now. And it's going to take us to 227. In comes our nav 2 right there. Oh, it kicked over. We'll let it start coming back. Nav 2 is at 117.2. Nav 1 is at 117.2. The course needs to go to 227. And we'll go back into nav mode. Nav mode's still on now. We're coming off the 226 to AXC. We are picking up AXC. So we're coming out, we're going from our next VOR is going to actually be to the northwest of our facility. So we're not going to use it. We're just going to ride this radial as far as we can. We're going to maintain that 227 heading, and it's going to take us right out there. So we are, let's see, half an hour? I'll say half an hour from Lambert. Channel 111. Let's see, I'm not sure exactly on this one as to how to get it to come up. And this may be one that somebody else can say, hey, stupid, you should go this way. Okay, let's try doing this. I don't think it's gonna do what I want it to do, but we're gonna try. This technically, come on, technically shouldn't do what I'm trying to do with it, but we'll see. Nope, not really. We'll go ahead and put her on heading mode. And we're going to try to switch over to the Cardinal VOR, or DME. And it doesn't register. Okay. So, COM 2, 116.45. Let's see if we can get COM 2 to work on that, or at least pull it up for a while. Go back to nav mode, coming off the ADX, as long as we can maintain that VOR. But this is kind of one of the things you have with VOR to VOR navigation. The distances can be greater than what the radio will broadcast and pick up. All right, a little bit of wind. So we are inbound now from St. Louis, essentially. We're 10 miles out of the VOR patterns. So somewhere around Moweaqua. We should see a city coming up on our right-hand side here, about halfway. I think that's the railroad crossing that goes to Assumption, and that can be an Assumption. That's sorry,
St. Louis Airport information, Charlie.
Hey,
1300 Zulu. Wind 128 at 6. Visibility.
Ooh,
10
heavy
and
rain.
heavy rain. Sky condition.
Hey,
Few clouds at 2,000 feet.
take a look at
10,100 feet scattered. Ceiling 14,000 feet broken. Temperature. 12.
so that's heavy rain,
Dew
but
point. 8.
that's what the game is
Altimeter
reporting.
3022.
The SEM
ILS
is
runway
reporting.
11. ILS runway 12 left and ILS runway 12 right in use. Landing and departing runway 11. Runway 12 left and runway 12 right. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back, hold short instructions.
We have Charlie. Okay, so we know that they're using the 11s and 12, 11 and 12s. So that's a thing. We'll see how we look as we come in here. Let's look. Nope, not there. Not there. Not there. Not there. Not there. Right there. So we're coming up on KTAZ, which is Taylorsville Municipal. That's the airport that I was looking for out here off our right-hand side. So that's probably 2 or 3 miles. It's going to be over here. If we look real hard, we'll see an airport. Not sure exactly where that's at, but at least now I have an idea of where that's at. Maybe this is it over here. It's hard telling sometimes. Or is that it right there? No, I don't think that's it. I think that's just a road. Yeah, it's just a road. Aha, it's over here. Fairly certain that it's one of these things over here. Well, nonetheless, we are definitely making progress. We're probably a third of the way, half of the way, somewhere around in there. Starting to see traffic, broach up here in front of us. A350. 510 feet, so he's probably sitting at Lambert. We can see the rain up ahead, see the weather, so we may have a little bit of a bumpy finish here, but that's okay. In Midwest, you have to be able to fly in weather, because if you wait for no weather, you won't fly. We're still locked onto that nav signal coming off of the Adders VOR. We still don't have anything yet on nav 2 as far as any kind of directional. We'll keep going on this. We're going to come up on Litchfield, which will be over here on our left somewhere. We're not seeing it yet on our GPS. But we're doing okay. We'll be all right as we keep zooming through here. Well, we're 25 miles. That's going to leave us about 60 miles to go. 68 miles, I think. If my quick math is right. 66 miles. So it wasn't right. Imagine that. But we're zooming along. Like I said, we can see that there's traffic up here. We can see that there's weather up here. So we'll come down into it. We got probably another half an hour's worth of flight time here. Maybe a little less, 15 minutes. Trying to figure out what exactly we're looking at. Our beautiful beach has done a great job for us yet again. The old beach. Making a great flight. I should probably... I mean, technically we're under 10,000 feet, so we should have our landing lights on, but right now I'm going to turn them off and retract them. And it actually reduces drag a little bit. So, we'll see how things roll as we keep coming up. I tried yesterday and didn't have much luck with working with this 530. It doesn't seem to want to take any of the information that we're giving. Like if I go here, let me get out of this. If I go to a direct and I say, hey, take me to KSTL. Let's try that. We had this problem yesterday and it didn't want to operate the way that I thought it should have. Okay. I think they're still having some issues. QRS. Darn it. I would love to have the type option here. I would also like to have a more clear let's see. Right now it should be saying, hey, you mean St. Louis. And it's not getting any of that. So for some reason the 530 is broken, but then again they're going to say, well, technically this is a 2020 aircraft. It's not approved for 2024. And we are definitely heading into heavy rain here. Look at that weather front. Wow. All right, we're going to go back in cockpit. We're going to clear this and go back to our back to what we want. I don't even think the nearest. Oh, it does give you options. Yeah, but not the ones I need. Flight plan, let's go here, hold the clear, and here comes the weather. So we're going to have to, this is going to be a little dicey because it does not look like we've got good visibility up ahead. The wind is probably going to whip us around a bit, I would say. But we'll see if we go too much. It's like the view controls are very, oh, just that quick. We're into the weather now. This would definitely be considered IFR conditions. And that may become a problem when we get up to St. Louis. If it's, you know, oh, looky there. There's the rain. We're going to keep an eye because I can't see anything outside the cockpit right now. Curious how it looks out here. Doesn't show it out here, but boy howdy does it show it in here. We're definitely seeing a lot of weather. The windshield wiper works, just doesn't seem to work. Doesn't seem to clear anything. Let me say it that way. 42 miles, we're coming up, we're almost halfway. At 47 miles, 47 and a half, we'll be at the halfway point to St. Louis. Hopefully, this weather will have cleared off by then. I don't know that it's going to. Taking a little listen to the 80s.
St. Louis Airport information, Charlie. 1300 Zulu. Wind 128 at 6. Visibility 10 in heavy rain. Sky condition, few clouds at 2,000 feet, 10,100 feet scattered, ceiling 14,000 feet broken. Temperature 12. Dew point 8.
3022.
Altimeter tree
Wow.
022. ILS runway 11, ILS runway 12 left and ILS runway 12 right in use. Landing and departing runway 11, runway 12 left and runway 12 right.
Maybe what we need to do.
VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back, hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact, you have Charlie.
I have Charlie. Okay, so airport diagram shows the elevation at landing, or at 1,500 or 500 feet. So we need to get to pattern altitude. Let's go ahead and see if we can drop down to 1,500 and maybe get a little bit out of these clouds. The ADA says that the few clouds of 2,000, maybe we can drop down underneath this with D, start our descent here. We're still, several miles out. We are coming up on the Litchfield here, I think that's what that is, on our GPS. For ILO. I'm not seeing that on the sectional here. Oh, I'll bet it is. I'll bet you just gotta... Yeah, there's more than one there. That's why. Sanders. Yeah, we're still looking fairly decent here. But does not look as if our descent here really helped the situation any. The heavy rain and weather is upon us. We may have to divert to the west to be able to see the land. Okay, we're reporting that we're 1,600 feet now, and we're still not seeing we've lost the, put it in heading movement, we've lost the nav radio for Adams, but we do have the DME now on St. Louis. But as you can tell, as I turn the CDI, there's no course indication. So we're going to stay on the heading that we're on, which is 227. I can see that we're coming up on the Class Charlie shelf, which is the 30-mile ring, I think. That's, no, 25-mile ring. St. Louis area, let's go to St. Louis. No. St. Louis, let's go to the tag chart. Here we go, we're coming in. I see the ground down there, but man, is it soupy. I think that the ATIS is a little off as far as the visibility. Either that or we're starting to come out of it. I don't know. Maybe one or the other. You can start to see a little bit of land out here, but boy, let me tell you, it's soupy. And I'm concerned that we're not that far above where we're, you know, above ground level. You can see here I mean, we look okay, but boy howdy, it doesn't look like it from the cockpit. All right, so we're coming in 33 miles now out from St. Louis. We're just going to keep coming in. Actually, we're going to go here, St. Louis approach, nope, nearest airport. Don't see anything yet. Looks like it is starting to clear at this altitude. Farther from me, Hillsborough Hospital. Getting all the hospitals. But I'm not getting the one I want. Alright, so we can't get that. Let's go, what is Tower? St. Louis Tower. 120.5. Let's go there. 120.05? Yeah, 120.05. See if that gives us, it says St. Louis, we'll see if it stays that way. But we cleared up here, but it looks like we're going to run into it again up there. Just approach. Yeah, nothing. Okay. Awesome. St. Louis Regional I saw there in the last list is just to the northwest by about 15 miles. So maybe here we'll get lucky and the list will start coming up to where we need it. to give us what we're after. Nope. Nope. Still nada. So we'll try again. We're 25 miles just soon here. Let's try the flight bag and see what it says. Comms for general frequencies. Right, so 120. It's not giving me anything here on that tower frequency. We're starting to enter, and that's what, I mean, we're technically under the shelf, and we will remain under the shelf until we get to the very smallest. There you can see St. Louis. Okay, we're gonna fly it. Let's do this. Nearest airport is this. St. Louis Regional. St. Louis Regional Tower.
Regional Tower, 3W November, Tree, 20 Sierra Mike, is type Beechcraft Beach, 6 miles south of 4 India Sierra Niner, 1,500 feet. Requesting transition.
3W November, Tree 20 Sierra Mike, transition approved. Report clear of Regional Tower airspace.
Okay, so we're on that.
Will report clear, 3W November, Tree, 20 Sierra Mike.
So right now we have to wait till we get through their space and report that. The rain does look like it's getting heavier up in front of us, so we'll see. We are currently coming up on 20 miles. 20 miles out from St. Louis. I may have messed up by doing that, but I suppose if nothing else, we could have landed there today. Oh yeah, there it is. I don't know if we'll be able to see the arch in this or not. We're coming in from the northeast. We'd have to go down. We may, you know, do a little sightseeing to see if we can see it. First, we got to transition this Charlie airspace, this Delta airspace. Coming right up on the airport dead ahead of us. Weather's going to set in again on us. There's St. Louis Regional. So we're coming across that. Now what we want to look for, if we're going to go see the arch before we land, we want to take a look for the river. So we should be coming up on it. It's the mighty Mississippi. And when we do, we're going to want to turn left and follow it to the south. Let's get that off of there. Right now, let's clear that. Let's reduce our range a little bit. And here is the river. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to follow the river, because going down the river is what we want to do. Follow the river. Over here, that's the highway.
Regional Tower, 3W November Tree, 20 Sierra Mike, is clear of the Regional Tower airspace.
3W November Tree 20 Sierra Mike, Regional Tower, frequency change approved.
Follow the Mississippi south, which is what we're doing right here. So this is the Mississippi, and we're going to follow it south. Or we're going to crash because I'm bleeding off all my airspeed. The weather is turned to smack. I don't know if we're going to be able to see this or not. I'll tell you what, for the purpose of the stream, to make things a little easier on us, we're going to turn off live custom, and we're going to turn off live weather. So that way we can see. I know, cheating. But, you know, we should probably, we're here in St. Louis. It would be a shame not to see it. The weather does look somewhat better now. I know, imagine that. When you turn off the storms, it looks better. Bring our speed back up. And I think that is it, dead ahead. I could be wrong. We're going to follow the river around. I believe this is the Chain of Rocks Bridge directly ahead of us here. And I do believe that's the Gateway Arch. So we will take a little ride down yonder, see what we come up with. Try to trim us back to reasonably level flight. For the speed that we're at. Yes, that indeed is the Chain of Rocks Bridge. It crosses the Mississippi. That is 270, according to my thing. We are now within 10 miles of, I don't know if we can find St. Louis or not. It should be pretty close in the list, I would think. I mean, there's all these hospitals around that have helipads, and that's what it's seeing. But we'll wait till we get a little closer. It's right up there. It should be pretty much to our right over there. That's it. I can't believe that it's not pulling it up yet, but that's okay because we're gonna do a little sightseeing first, and then when we get closer, we'll go see what we need to see there. We'll bring our manifold pressure back to where it should be, pull our RPMs down a little bit, and then once again trim out the aircraft. The weather makes it a challenge for sure, but it makes it for a dull flight for the stream. So turn that off so you can see as we come into St. Louis. Now, of course, my computer is not the greatest computer for visuals, but hey, that's all right. I've always said my streams are for entertainment, not education. again, we're a little bit more trim on that aileron. Maybe that'll stop that from happening. But I believe here at our 1 o'clock right there by downtown, I believe that this right here is the St. Louis Arch. We're going to see. Something just happened. I don't know what. That was really odd. According to this, we're still streaming, but for some reason, 2 of my monitors shut off. Not the primary. Oh, look at the boat right in the middle in the lake. That's a big boat to have in such a small lake, but okay. And there you see it, ladies and gentlemen, right out here. First off, this looks like St. Louis Raceway. Matter of fact, I believe that's exactly what that is. And I'm trying to look here. Yep, that's the raceway right there. You can see a couple things today. The raceway here at our 11 o'clock. We're going to pull the throttle back, slow down a little bit. That's kind of cool. That was an unexpected view right there. As we get closer, you can see that there's stuff populating. That's my that's the detail loading in as we get closer, because my computer can only take so much. But, ladies and gentlemen, here at our 1 o'clock, the gateway of America, on the side of the Mississippi River, is the St. Louis Arch. I personally have never been. I'd like to go someday to see it, but I'm sure there's probably more to see in St. Louis than just the Arch. But we'll do a quick flyby. Give everybody a nice view here. Trying to level off as we go by it. Or as we go through, let's see if it'll work. I don't know if it'll let me or not. We'll know shortly, I guess. And 3, 2, 1. That's going to be an FAA infraction, I'm sure. But nope, there you see the stadium there. That looks great, actually. I think that looks awesome. Try not to stall us out as we come around here. Watch out for buildings and towers and such. But alright, so enough sightseeing for today. Let's see if we can find St. Louis to Lambert. Let's see if we can find Lambert to land. I mean, there we are, Lambert, St. Louis Tower. We're going to request a full stop landing.
St. Louis Tower, 3W November Tree 20 Sierra Mike is 1 miles southeast, 1,400 feet, with Delta to land.
3W November Tree 20 Sierra Mike, St. Louis Tower. Altimeter 29902. Fly straight and runway tree 0 left.
Make straight and runway tree 0 left, 3W November Tree 20 Sierra Mike.
Runway 30 left. Okay, well, we're gonna put our stuff, our heading bug in 300. Really? So we're gonna churn around here. We're facing the airport. We're gonna try to just come in on base because we're already kind of where we need to be for that. We are to the south, southeast. Let's do that. Let's do a quick check of this. 30 left. Okay, I got it. I know where we're going. Let's go ahead and bring the throttle back. We're 1,500 feet roughly. Man, whoa, no, we're not. How did we get so high so quickly? I don't get that. We're gonna go ahead and bring the gear down. Kind of doing a no-no by descending into the battery, but you know, again, this is where my streams are for entertainment, not education completely. Because I do a lot of stuff that is not probably proper. See if we can come down. There we go. Down a little bit more in the cockpit so we get a better view of what we're doing. Alright. Understand. Oh, I know why. Boop, boop, boop. Well, at this point we're going to do it visually because our altimeter is spiked wrong. Okay, so we should be good on altitude at this point. Alright, and here we go. We're going to make the turn in for final. Get up on the old, put a set of flaps out. Whoa. Something sounded fairly close there.
3W November, tree 20 Sierra Mike, wind calm, clear to land runway tree 0 left.
Clear to land runway, tree 0 left. 3W November, tree 20 Sierra Mike.
Get on here. To get on with the getting on. Got a busy day, I think, scheduled in front of us. Mrs. 320 was down here a little earlier, politely telling me where we were in our day, which is code for get your butt off the computer and let's get to getting. There goes that NACE 42. He'd been sitting there for a while. And he finally took off, so he'd been sitting there the entire time we were coming in this leg, so he's probably simulating a full takeoff. Doesn't really say where he's going, so it's alright. Alright, let's focus in on our landing here. People are probably going to go, what are you doing? You're taking off the wrong way. Well, this is the way that the tower told me to. Yeah, it looks to me like that is the wrong way. Let's, heck with it. We're gonna go. We're in on landing. I don't see anything coming at me, so. Southwest is crossing in front of us here. Hopefully he'll get out of the way, which I think he's going to. Another notch of flaps as we come in. Take a look at everything. Looks like the runway is particularly clear. A lot of southwests moving. Of course, there were a lot of southwests coming through when we came out of Midway too. And we're going to try and have a nice landing here. The problem is because I'm not simulating the weather. It's going to have other things going on that may not mesh with what I'm doing, like this right here. Oh, Southwest, don't you do it. You're gonna. Thankfully, there's no collision turned on. Because, whoa. Missed him. Nice. We're long because we tried to miss that guy. Probably should have done a go around, honestly, on that. coming down. Brakes to keep us on somewhat on center line. And there we go. We're going to slow down as much as we can.
3W November, tree 20 Sierra Mike. Turn next taxiway.
Alright, we're turning this taxiway. And that's going to conclude our stream's flight for today. We are now in St. Louis. And off we go. Go out here and we'll contact ground.
3W November, tree 20 Sierra Mike. Contact ground on 118.925. Delta tree 102. Exit runway when able.
118.925 for 3W November, tree 20 Sierra Mike.
3W November, tree 20 Sierra Mike. Taxi to general aviation parking using taxiway. Romeo Charlie Sierra.
Romeo Charlie Sierra. Okay.
St. Louis ground. Please say again transmission for 3W November, tree 20 Sierra Mike.
3W November, tree 20 Sierra Mike. Taxi to general aviation parking using taxiway. Romeo Charlie Sierra.
What am I at?
St. Louis ground. 3W November,
Why do you
tree
keep saying
20
say again?
Sierra Mike. Say again.
3W November, tree 20 Sierra Mike. Taxi to general aviation parking via taxiway. Romeo Charlie Sierra.
Okay. Let's bring that back up because I'm not. Right, we came in on 30 left. We're at
3W November, tree 20 Sierra Mike. Did you hear my last transmission?
Close. Just get off that frequency so that way I'm not listening to her. Because I'm not listening to her. So we're at Romeo, I believe. Let's go back here. Charlie. Okay. So we're at Romeo Charlie. So we need to find that. I'm not seeing Romeo anywhere. Yeah. Okay. You know what? We're just gonna let's kill that. Let's go here. Maybe this will help. Sorry, I know it's terrible. Hide, airport, KSTL. That's what I want. The airport, the charts, taxi chart. Show me where I'm at. And turn that on. Charlie. You know what? We're just gonna go right over here and park. Because I'm not seeing anything here that shows me anything else. So we're gonna go right over yonder. Let me go find us a parking spot right here. Looks like that's where general aviation is anyways. There's all kinds of stuff over here. It's a fancy looking one there, ain't it? So next to this, what looks like a King Air, I may be wrong, but that's what it looks like. And we're just gonna put it right here, and that's gonna be it for today's stuff. But The good news is we made it. We're in one piece. It's been an effective day. VOR navigation. And we'll see where our next stream takes us. Go from there. Pull back our props. Both are shut down now. We can go ahead and turn off our fuel. Parking brakes are on. We'll start to turn off everything. Okay. Off. Turn that, power down our stuff, our avionics, our masters, turn off our magnetos. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. And we will be back hopefully over the next few days, but we'll see. Our weekend morning schedule seems to be what's working best for us. We might get some weekend afternoons, but who knows? Meantime, thanks for flying.